Help support Name Explain by liking this video, leaving a comment and subscribing to the channel. Okay, so on the whole I try to stay away from making topical videos. I like my content to be evergreen, which is dumb YouTuber talk for being able to watch at any time. E.g. a video about how the boroughs of New York got their names is still as relevant now as it was when I first made it, and it should stay that way unless a borough is added, removed or changes name. When this current event all started kicking off in the news, I wasn't really that interested. However, all of a sudden names and titles came into the mix, and by gosh my interest was piqued. Plus it seems people really enjoy content about the royal family, so who am I to deny people such pleasures? So today let's tackle the ongoing nomenclature conundrum that's taken up the headlines, that being the case of Harry, Meghan, their wish to step away from the royal family, and what that means for their titles. However, if you're watching this in the future or have no idea of what or who I'm talking about when I say Harry and Meghan are naming issues, then maybe I should explain what has been happening. And just to be thorough, let's start from the very beginning. Henry, more commonly known as Harry, was born on the 15th of September 1984. He's the son of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, meaning yes, just in case you were really clueless, we were talking about Prince Harry, member of the British royal family and 6th in line to the throne, not just some random couple named Harry and Meghan. Though if you happen to be called Harry or Meghan and your partner has the other name, let me know how the past couple of years have panned out. Of course, since his birth, the world's media and garbage tabloids have been breathing down his neck, especially due to the death of his mother at such a young age. Over his life, Harry joined the military, served in Afghanistan and got caught up in a few antics himself, all of which were brought to the attention of the public thanks to media sources whose names aren't even worth mentioning. Though we don't really need to go into too much detail on all this, we really need to pick up this story in 2016 when Prince Harry was set up on a blind date with actress Meghan Markle by a mutual friend of the two. The two apparently fell in love very quickly. They wanted to keep their relationship private for some time. When Harry first confirmed the relationship, he explained how the media subjected his girlfriend to a wave of abuse and harassment. It wasn't until 2017 they were first seen together in public. However, this statement made by the prince didn't stop the media, as things would only get worse as Harry spoke of legal battles to keep defamatory stories out of the papers, and even reporters and photographers attempting to break into Meghan's home. However, this didn't stop the two from parting ways. In fact, this seemed to bring them closer together, and in November 2017, it was announced that they were engaged. Wedding preparations started to take place, and in May 2018, the wedding was held in Windsor. And as tradition holds, on his wedding day, Harry was gifted a Duke title by his grandmother, the Queen, with this title being Duke of Sussex, and of course this transferred over to his newlywed wife Meghan too, and she became the Duchess of Sussex. Of course, this wedding was covered extensively by the media, as was the birth of their first child, who was born about a year later in May 2019. As 2019 went on, it became more apparent that Meghan and Harry are unhappy with how the media have been treating them. Meghan is of mixed race, and many believe this has led to her receiving way more criticism from the media than other royal family members. Harry has even talked about how unconscious biases can lead to racist behaviour. BuzzFeed News even compiled articles from British tabloids and how they treated Kate and Meghan in the exact same situations. Christmas 2019 was spent as a family in Canada on an extended break from royal duties, and when we rolled into January 2020, it seemed like that break from royal duties would carry on, as the couple announced in January 2020 they would step back as senior members of the royal family, away from those duties, split their time between the UK and North America, and work to become financially independent, even saying they will repay the £2.4 million they received from taxpayer money to repair their UK home. On January 18th, the Queen and Buckingham Palace made statements on what the situation is officially with Harry and Meghan and their ties to the royal family. Buckingham Palace stated they are required to step back from royal duties, while the Queen said that Harry, Meghan and Archie will always be much loved members of my family. So it seems like the idea of them stepping back from the royal family has ended up with them stepping out of the royal family. As you can see from the ton of events I've mentioned, this is all still very much a developing story. People are wondering what roles they'll actually play in the royal family, how exactly they're going to earn money for themselves, and of course, what will become of their royal titles. If they are stepping away from the royal family, then surely they can't keep using all those royal titles, right? Well, this is the big question we're trying to answer today, as in all of this, name's the only part I'm actually interested in. Well, titles I ought to say. And I must say that while titles are on the line for both Harry and Meghan, it's primarily Harry will be focusing on for this video, as most of what happens to this applies to Meg too, though we will cover some fun facts about her titles too. So what titles are on the line for Harry? Well, his full official title is / was, depending on when you're watching this, His Royal Highness Prince Henry, Duke of Sussex, Earl of Dumbarton and Baron of Kilkeel, but we don't really need to talk about those last two. Let's just stick with His Royal Highness Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. What do these titles even mean, and how does someone even acquire them in the first place? Let's look into that title of Prince prince first. It is defined as a non-reigning male of a royal family, and in Great Britain a son or grandson of a king or queen. The word itself comes from the Latin princeps, meaning first man / ruler, and this name came from the Latin primus, meaning first, and capere, meaning to take. So from here we can see this means the first to take, as in the first in line to take the throne. Now from this etymology and definition, I'm sure you can figure out how exactly someone becomes a prince. The easiest way to go about this is by having a monarch for a parent / grandparent / great grandparent, etc. However, you could also become one by starting up your own nation and declaring yourself prince, though other nations may not recognize this status. Duke is defined as the male ruler of a duchy, and also as a British nobleman holding the highest hereditary title outside the royal family. So it's interesting to see that you can be a duke without having to be a prince. Harry just happens to be both. Duke too traces back to Latin, this time the Latin dux, meaning leader. It seems that becoming duke, however, isn't as tricky as becoming a prince. Of course, being born into the right family can help, as dukedoms can be inherited. However, it seems a lot of the time they are bestowed upon people, most noticeably on their wedding days. This is a tradition in the royal family. On the wedding day of Elizabeth and Philip, Philip was granted the title of Duke of Edinburgh, William was granted Duke of Cambridge on his wedding day, and Harry was given Sussex on his wedding day too. Of course, these titles given to men were transferred over to their wives and they became the Duchesses of Edinburgh, Cambridge and Sussex respectively. Though of course Elizabeth is no longer Duchess of Edinburgh as she is busy being Queen. We covered this in more detail in our Kings and Queens video. Why Harry was given Sussex? I don't know. No one else had the title at the time and the Queen decided to bestow it upon him. Though I do live in Sussex, so I guess he's technically my Duke? The His Royal Highness, commonly shortened just HRH title, is perhaps the most interesting part of Harry's name. It seems to only be bestowed to some of the higher up senior members of the royal family. I read that George I really brought it into popularity, calling his children Royal Highness and his grandchildren just Highness, though this has since been dropped and just Royal Highness is used now, usually preceded by his or her. I also read that HRH has been given to non-royal family members in the past too, but as of now it's just direct members and their partners. Highness is actually a pretty interesting word too. It's clearly a combination of high and ness, but what makes these royal people so high? Well, in the past, high didn't mean something being really upward, vertical. Man, it's really hard to define the word high without using the word high. But by the 14th century, high meant most frequent or important, and this can still be seen today with the likes of the term highway, as the highway tends to be the most important and frequently used road. Royalty were called highness because they were so important, aka high. Though we don't need to concern ourselves too much with this title, as it's the HRH that Harry will be losing. The statement from Buckingham Palace says that the Sussexes will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working members of the royal family, which shows just how highly regarded these titles are within the royal family. That makes sense as to why they are losing them. As I mentioned earlier, the HRH title is only used with the higher senior members of the royal family, and as Harry and Meghan no longer wish to be senior members, then I guess logically they should no longer have that title. Though I've been using the word lose and that isn't too accurate. They are choosing to not use those titles anymore. I'm sure this could be rectified by the Queen if they change their mind. In the fallout of this, it was announced they would now go by the names of Harry, Duke of Sussex, and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, though this has caused some issues too, as this is the royal title formatting that has been adopted by women who have divorced a member of the royal family. When Sarah Ferguson divorced with Prince Andrew, Duke of York, she was known by, and still is known as, Sarah, Duchess of York. In an article from the 21st of January, which at the time of recording this was yesterday, it says that Buckingham Palace will reportedly revise erroneous titles for Harry and Meghan. How they will sort this out we simply don't know yet. Though, what about his other titles, Prince and Duke of Sussex? Well, it seems that these titles won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Harry has no real reason to stop being a Duke. As I mentioned, there are many people with the title Duke who got it one way or another who have very little to do with the royal family. The current Duke of Norfolk, in example, has very little to do with the affairs of the royal family. In fact, I don't know how many people even know his name. If he is allowed to keep his Duke title, live a life of luxury and ease due to the family he was born into, and have very little media attention scrutinising his life, then I think Harry can keep his too. Also, it seems that the Duke of Sussex title is going to make very good branding for the couple. It was reported in June 2019 that Harry and Meghan applied for the trademark Sussex Royal in the UK and hoping it could be trademarked globally. This would be for the use on books, clothing, social care services, stationery, education and charitable fundraising. Many have wondered how the couple will be financially independent, and this title may very well be their answer. Though he could very well lose the title, it seems the most common way people lose the title is by ascending up the royal family. When Charles becomes king, his son William will most likely get his current title Prince of Wales, losing his current title Duke of Cambridge that may go to his son George. However, this is very unlikely to happen for Harry, as his dad, brother and nephew are the actual succession to the throne, so unless something happens to them, Harry will remain a duke. Though what about his most renowned title, Prince? Well yes, he will still be a prince. In fact, he can't really stop being a prince unless he somehow becomes king. It's something of a biological thing. As long as he has royal blood, then that makes him a prince. No amount of wanting to step down can change that. Well, unless he isn't actually of royal blood. But if we went down that rabbit hole, then we are no better than tabloids that stoked that rumour in the first place. However, it seems like prince is a title he doesn't actually use much anymore. Wikipedia states that it was his title before marriage, and now married Duke of Sussex is more the correct title to use, though he is still a prince if he uses it or not. It seems Harry isn't going to be formally known as prince, so he won't need to change his name to a weird symbol anytime soon. Though, what about Meghan? Is she a princess? Well, yes and no. We covered title transfer in way more detail in our previous King and Queen video, but to summarise, men of royal blood can transfer their titles to their wives, and as Harry is the royal, it means his title's transferred over to her, hence why she is Duchess of Sussex and formerly Her Royal Highness. So while she is a princess, it's only because she got the title from Harry in the marriage. Technically her title is Princess Henry. Nevertheless, she didn't seem to use the title too much anyway. Names and titles aside, however, it seems the couple want to live a life away from the awful British tabloids breathing down their neck, and from people constantly obsessing over them, and in that I truly wish them the best. Though I guess by making a video highlighting all this, I am actually part of the problem. Thank you to all my patrons who support Name Explain on a monthly basis. Name Explain depends on small monthly donations from fans like you to help keep the channel running. Just a small amount of $2 a month helps in a huge way, grants you patron exclusive Name Explain extras, and gets your name here with all these awesome people. Thank you. Hello all, and thank you so much for reaching the end of the video. Stick around and check out another video and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Name Explain. You can follow myself on Twitter at NameExplainYT. Follow me there and tweet the name Diana at me so I know you came from this message. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again, thank you all so much.